I want to talk about a usage model that I find never fails. 4-step PLR usage model works every time, regardless of the type of PLR product you are buying. You'll find some of them are very complex, like the one I just showed you. Others are just a little short, 10 articles, maybe a report and some graphics. Doesn't matter. Here are 4 steps you can follow and get some value from your PLR investment each and every time. First, you want to take an inventory of what your package includes. So write it down, make sure you understand, okay, I've got some articles here, I've got a graphic, I've got a report, whatever. Then you want to group it into one of 3 categories. I like to think of all of my content and then I think of which bucket I'm going to use it in. It can either be premium, so that's something you're going to sell or put as part of a larger item that you're selling. Or you might want to use it as a lead generation content, so growing your list, building your list, and so on. And then finally, the third group might be web or branding content. This is free stuff. You publish it as a blog post. You publish it as an article on an article sharing website. Maybe it's a post on one of your groups on Facebook or on Pinterest or something like that. Once you've decided how the PLR will group into those 3 categories, then you want to decide how you are going to use that PLR content. So you buy it. Let's say you make a, I don't know what it is, something cheap, $27 investment. You've got this content sitting on your hard drive. How are you going to actually use the content you just purchased today based on those 3 categories? And then what you want to do, I recommend this to everybody. If you use Dropbox, it's great. You can even use an external hard drive and start collecting all of your PLR into a kind of a main folder called rebrandable content or something like that. But add your PLR to something called an assets folder. And inside of your assets folder, you might want to group it by category. So we sell at Tools for Motivation, we sell self-help content. So you might buy some goal setting content from us one day. Maybe next month you get something from us on leadership or mindset or success habits. Who knows what it might be? Group all those pieces of content into relevant folders so that you can come back to them in the future. Not all of the PLR you buy today will be something you implement right away, but when it's kind of evergreen, like self-help, you will eventually come back to it. Maybe you'll need it for a mailer one day, or maybe you'll need it for a blog post in the future. Make sure you have it in sort of this one giant assets folder so that you can revisit it. This model, to me, if you do this every time you buy PLR, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a return on your investment. Now, it just popped up a little green box there saying resource page. At the end of this webinar, I'm going to have a really cool offer for you. It's something we're only offering on this webinar. And part of the offer has a resource page where everything I show you today on this webinar, I will break it down into much more granular step-by-step. So if you want to take any of the examples I have here and run with them, and you don't want to have to take like tons and tons of notes while I speak, that resource page will make it super easy for you to follow all of these steps. So I have this 4-step usage model in greater detail for you on that resource page. Quickly, let me talk about some mistakes to avoid with PLR just before we get into the cool examples. So if you're going to buy private label rights content, the first thing I want to recommend you do is buy it and make sure you implement it. I see a lot of people, they load up on this stuff and then they don't implement. And so it just sits there gathering, quote unquote, digital dust. I've heard a lot of people say that term before, but it's true. It's not going to do you any good to buy a bunch of licensed content and just leave it sitting there. Make sure that at the very least you grab it and put it up as a blog post or copy and paste it into your next broadcast or some kind of useful tool for your customers or subscribers to use. Let me just grab a quick drink. Alice, by any means, if you need to pop in and interrupt, do so. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep plowing away here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sitting here going to take notes as well on these.
Good.
But
Okay.
yes, this implementing thing. Yeah, I don't think we can ever keep our customers, from doing that. But for those of you who are here and you took the time to be here, be those people who actually implement what they buy for sure. Have a plan for it. Even if you don't, I don't know if you're going to mention that. Even if you're not personally doing it, have an assistant or someone else, do it for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Each and every one of the examples I'm about to go through are perfect for delegation. If you have a VA or somebody working for you, they could easily do all this for you while you work on other stuff. So, okay. So not implementing, that's a huge one. Next one is implementing, but not publishing. So you buy the PLR and then you sit down, or your assistant sits down and puts, I don't know, maybe you take 3 of our ebooks from Tools for Motivation and turn them into a course. So you've got this 3-part course. It teaches people who knows what kind of life success skills. It's got all kinds of great examples. It can really make a difference in the life of somebody who buys that. And you put it into a course or a PDF or whatever, and then you never get to publishing it. Who knows? Maybe it's some kind of tech thing that trips you up. I don't know. But I see that far too often. And I've even had Skype calls with people where I'll sit down and go, okay, you've got it done. So now you need to do is this, this, and this. They walk away and they still don't do it. I don't get it. So I really mean this sincerely when I say implement it and publish it. It's not going to do anybody any good, yourself or your customers, if you've done all this great work and nobody can purchase or download this thing. So those are kind of my 2 favorites. And then the last one is a little bit more of a techie kind of understanding thing. Understand the terms of service of the platform you're publishing on. So for example, if you're using Udemy or however you pronounce it, they have something in their terms of service about privately labelized content. Same with Kindle. I'm not going to go through all those right now. Take the time to understand what you can and cannot do when it comes to using private label material. Don't get yourself in trouble on your favorite publishing platform.